So far, Norristown has outscored their opponents 28-7 in the first quarter. Not so tonight, as the Patriots put 6 on the board and blanked the Eagles.
You know, just carrying those figures out, look at the rest of the advantage. The Eagles have enjoyed second quarter 42-13, move it into the third 43-16, and in the fourth 38-6.
For a total of 3-1, the Eagles have scored 151 points this year, only given up 42 points. That's rather impressive.
And yet the defense has been the area that's been most criticized this season.
They've given up a lot of yards, but they haven't broken. They've bent, but they haven't broken.
You got that cliche in there.
That's right. John Madden taught me that. Scott Campbell, good for about 5 yards on the play. It'll be close to a first down, but not quite, certainly.
Campbell, the wingback for the Patriots, their leading receiver, 15 catches on the season. Sporango, their main ball carrier, enters the game 425 yards, just 3.5 yards a carry, though. But his big contribution tonight, though, came when he was on the receiving end of that pass that split the scene in the opening drive, which led to the Patriots' eventual score.
Deep in Norristown territory, the ball at the 37-yard line. The tackle finally made after a first down. Tate on the carry. Goes deeper into Norristown territory. The ball finally stopped at the 27-yard line. Tate with a fine run and a first down.
You know, the Patriots aren't doing anything fancy here, Jeff. They're just running the ball right between the tackles up the middle.
Well, the 3 pass attempts so far this evening have resulted in one huge play, a 3rd and 10 pass that broke for 45 yards.
One near interception.
And then 2 incompletions.
Once again, up the middle and pick up maybe about 5 yards.
Sure, if you pick up 4 or 5 yards on first down, you've got all the options in the world to go to. You don't have to worry about, gee, I'm 2nd and 10, what do I do now? You're 2nd and 5, you can throw the ball, you go up top, go off tackle again, run it till they stop it.
That time they picked up 4 yards, 2nd and 6, and the ball's now down on the 24-yard line of the Eagles.
This is a very big league contest for both of these teams. If CB East loses this ball game, considering the quality of teams in their division, they can just about write off a league title.
And of course, when we're talking about the quality of the teams right at the top of the standings, CB West, their crosstown borough rival.
That time, Tate on the carry, picked up about 2 yards on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 3 yards to go. 10:06 remaining in the first half.
Third and 3. Paulus dropping back, whips it over the middle, intercepted. Eagles coming up with it.
Brett Queenan was the man with the interception there at the 5-yard line of Norristown. They were looking up top that time for a touchdown in the far corner of the Norristown end zone, but Brett Queenan equal to the task. An easy interception for Queenan. That'll be his second of the season.
That time Paulus more or less sidearmed it over the middle. Bad pass, and you've got to wonder why then did they go to the air when they had such success picking up the first 30 yards on the drive, running right up the middle.
I guess you go for the surprise play, try and strike quickly, get into the end zone right away.
True, it did work in the first quarter. Now the Eagles taking over. Boyd, the back man, in the eye. And
play
Scott
action
this time, lofting it right up the middle in a sea of white shirts.
I tell you, I thought I might see a flag there. Not defensive, but offensive interference. Brad Yorick, once again double teamed, had to kick and claw one of those D-backs to try and rip that ball away.
Now hold it. You're not saying Brad pushed off?
No. Of course not. Brad made a very clean, aggressive. Brad played an aggressive ball that time.
And another miscue on Scott's part that time, forcing the ball into double team pressure.
Now, there's no place for that ball to go when Brad Yorick is double teamed. 2nd down and 10 from the 20-yard line. To pass again. This time the quick pass to Yorick. Now there you go. Brad Yorick for a first down. That's what you have to do. Strike quickly. Don't just loft that ball up there. Jim Scott with his first completion of the evening.
Brad Yorick, the leading receiver for the Eagles this year, that's number 11. Came into this game with 6 touchdowns on 10 receptions. It's not too shabby.
And look at that, those yards gained. 333 yards, 338 yards on 10 10 receptions. That's not a bad average. 34 yards a catch.
No.
That catch just brought his average down.
Now we go to Boyd. Plenty of running room, maybe about 8 yards there.
I like that. Roger Grove, I think, maybe for the first time this season, threw on both first and second downs. Opened his team up a little. Then he comes back with Danny Boyd, and Danny Boyd has running room for a change for 5 yards. Not to say for a change, he's run well all year. But Danny Boyd does usually have an up and down game. He gets stopped for no gain, then he finds a hole. That time the hole was there for him. 8:20 to play in the first half. 6-0, Patriots up on top over the Norristown Eagles. Boyd on the pitch, first down, flag on the play. For where that flag was thrown, I think we're going to have another holding call against Norristown.
2 flags that time, as a matter of fact.
Norristown this year has been penalized 35 times for 310 yards. That's an average of 5 a game.
Illegal block that time, Jeff.
Called against Norristown, of course. Well, penalties have been pretty even here for Norristown. They've been penalized 35 times, and their opponents have been penalized 35 times for almost identical yardage. Well, that's 2 big ones tonight against Norristown. That is a 15-yard loss for Norristown. You go from having a first down at your own 42-yard line to being deep in your own territory again and lots of yards for a first. It'll be second down and 20 yards to go.
Scott taking the drop. Little pressure, overthrows his man, intended receiver York on the near sideline.
Scott looked nice and comfortable there in the pocket, but the only person he ever looked at was Brad York. And there was no doubt in Jim Scott's mind, I'm sure, that he was going to throw the ball to Brad York. Never looked anywhere else.
You know, one thing that surprised me about the Eagles this season is you have an outstanding tailback like Danny Boyd. He's coming out of the backfield. It's so easy for the little dump-off passes, the little safety valve, the flares, and yet they don't take advantage of his open field running abilities and his elusive speed.
Third down and 20 yards to go. Urick once again split to the left. Livingston wide to the right. Oh, deep pressure. There's that dump off you talked about, Alan. And Jim Scott was run under.
Well, that was more out of necessity than design that time. You're right. Scott had absolutely no time. A breakdown in the Eagles' offensive line. Patriots coming right through.
That time, Craig Maurer was in on him quickly, and his brother Brent Maurer was right there as well.
See that? We built up the Mauers earlier,
and they come through for us. See, Vivian, your sons are playing a good game so far tonight. 7:48 to play in this half. Chris Scarpula into punt again.
So far, we've had a high and a low snap on a punt. Let's see what happens here.
A perfect snap. There you go. And Al averaged that. Oh, my. Oh, my.
That was
he
almost
kicked that one
blocked.
straight up, folks. Oh, and it takes a beautiful Norristown bounce.
Eagles are counting their blessings that one rolled back to the 46-yard line.
That was a 10-yard punt in the air and a 15-yard roll on the ground for a net punt of 25 yards. Not a pretty punt, folks. That ball went up, might have hit the Astrodome roof here. Thank God we're playing outside.
I'll tell you, well, Scarpula, though, was actually lucky even to get that one off because someone came right through on the right side of the line and just that came that close to blocking it.
That's exactly why he punted it straight up in the air. He would have been blocked any other way.
So once again, the Patriots handed ideal field position. They're up 6-0 here midway through the second quarter.
And they've certainly dominated this ball game so far. Tate, another 5 yards. Jason Tate finds another hole off that left side. And you mentioned it, Alan, and Walt Fry mentioned it to me. They're just running the ball off tackle and gaining a lot of yardage. Why bother with anything else? Tell Clark Paulus, don't throw the ball, Clark. Hand the ball off till Norristown stops you.
Clark's had some problem throwing the ball this year. By the way, I meant to tell you earlier, that interception is 7th of the season. He's only 30 for 86 throwing this season.
Now there's some defense. Looked like Rowan Watson with a fine tackle from his linebacker position. The carrier that time was Sparango, Bart Sparango, for about 2 yards on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 3 from the 39-yard line of Norristown. 6:34 to play in the first half with the Patriots up on top, 6-0. Colombian Chief.
3rd and 3.
And they don't get it. Good penetration by number 75, Mike Lynch. stops the Patriots cold about 1.5 yards short of the first down, and I think we might see a punt here. I'm not sure, though. Looks like head coach John Calpin hasn't made his decision yet. In fact, we have a timeout charge to the Patriots. Calpin wants to talk this over. I think he's going to talk with Clark Paulus there on the sideline and see if they want to go for it.
Well, let's see. You got maybe about a 4th and 2 situation. If you punt here, sure, you're going to put the Eagles back deep in their own territory, assuming it doesn't go into the end zone for the automatic touchback back to the 20. And if you don't get it, you're giving the Eagles their best field position in the evening if you don't pick up the first down here.
I think this early in the ball game, I'd punt.
I agree with you.
That almost guarantees that they'll go for it.
You couldn't ask for a finer night to play football.
Absolutely.
Maybe about 50 degrees. It's cool, very crisp.
Not a cloud in the sky. As we said earlier, the field conditions are perfect. Should be very conducive to a passing game, although it hasn't evolved here so far this evening.
Well, looks like they're going, Jeff. .54 left to go in this first half. Patriots up 6-0. What do you say, quarterback keeper?
I'd give it to the second back. There it is. And, oh, he's got it on his second effort, I think.
I think you're right.
Close play. It depends on where the officials mark it. What's John Madden say? Left foot or right foot? Norristown thinks they've stopped it. Bruce Cheston saying, no, we stopped it. Who was it on the carry that time? I believe it was number 30, Scott Campbell. Officials timeout for a measurement where they've marked it. I think they might be about 6 inches shy. Yep, and here they come onto the field to measure. I think it's going to be 4th down, and Norristown will have the ball. It wouldn't be 4th down, it'd be first down Norristown. Very close.
Jeff, 6 might have been generous. Make it about 3 or 4. That's how close it was that time. Eagles naturally coming up with their pretty excited here, and probably their best defensive series of this ball game so far.
They played very well there, and as you mentioned, with their best possession field-wise so far tonight. They start at their own 35-yard line. Seems like a blessing here. Jim Scott at quarterback. The Eagles trail 6-0.
Interesting, just Danny Boyd now behind Jim Scott. Passing situation, Boyd staying in the block.
Heck of a pass to Clark Paulus. Unfortunately, he's wearing the opposite color jersey. Paulus drops the ball. I don't know who that was to. Might have been Urick, but Urick was a blue shirt among a sea of white there.
Well, that's nothing unusual tonight. You're right, it was Brad York was the intended receiver.
It's like Norristown.
That was a strange play.
It doesn't seem like they have anybody to divert attention from Brad Urick. Brad Urick is double, triple covered. It's amazing.
Now they're back in the I formation. Moses. Once again, though, we're going up in the air. This time, Scott overthrows York. Let me ask you, Jeff, has York even completed a pass here? I think he's 0 for 6.
No, Yorick's the
excuse me.
Be Jim Scott.
Look, if you didn't say anything, no one would have caught it.
Except Brad's mother and Jim's mother.
Just send those cards and letters to us once again.
He did complete the one to Yorick on the left side for 10 yards.
Oh,
I believe
that's
that
right.
was the only completion here this evening.
Okay, 1 for 7. And a 3rd and 10 situation. Seems kind of funny to ignore a 1,000-yard rusher, Danny Boyd, the last 2 offensive series.
Well, we talk about he's got to throw the ball. He throws it, but not successfully.
Oh, plenty of flags.
Another flag. Scott's not going to have the first down anyway, I don't think, although he runs tiptoes down the sideline. Official says he stepped out of bounds about a yard short of the first down. I think that's going to be inconsequential. They're going to bring it back with those flags. See those 2 flags fly in the Norristown backfield. It's another holding call. There it is, holding against Norristown. Norristown has found ways to stymie themselves all evening here.
Second holding penalty against them tonight, and they've also had an illegal blocking call go against them.
Norristown has not moved the ball at all. That first offensive series, they got, I believe, 2 first downs, and that's been it. They did move the ball early, but were stopped after 2 first downs, and now look at them. With 5:02 to play in this half.
This is a familiar sight. It seems like all night they've been lining up right behind the 10-yard line.
So from the 17-yard line, they'll have third down and a lot.
Oh,
That's about 27 yards.
no, 32.
32?
This is the old 3rd and 32 play.
Tell you what, I'll be kind of surprised if they get it. Scott the pass. Over the middle to Yorick. He's got him. Tell you what, Alan, hit him in a bad spot.
You're right.
Heck of a pass by Jim Scott.
Looks like it bounced off his...
Number.
Yep. No, I was going to be a little nicer. Actually, it looked like it went off his shoulder.
Yeah, he did have it right there, but let's in all fairness, he had double coverage there. Man right in front of him probably distracted him on the reception. Would have been a first down.
Hear a few footsteps.
He was right there at the 46-yard line. Even with that blow after he caught it, he would have had the first down. But to no avail. And Chris Scarpula, been on the field a lot tonight.
Fourth punt.
Chris will be punting again here, as Alan said, for the 4th time here in this first half. Good blocking this time, and Scarpula gets off a little bit better punt here. Taken at the 42-yard line, about a 5-yard run back, and they'll have possession from the 37-yard line.
Best play we had all night so far was their extra point.
This is a cruel press box, isn't it?
I tell you, these folks spare no mercy. Or they have no mercy. They spare notice. Alan, come on, fill in these sentences for me. That's why I have you here.
How about this? The Eagles sure don't look like a team that's 5-0-1 this season.
No, they don't, and they're 6-0-1. Alan, come on, statistics. That's why Vivian helped you today.
Not with Norristown's.
Oh, okay.
Well,
By the way, we did thank Vivian Mao. We'd like to thank Roger Grove also for supplying us with his statistics for this ball game. We're very grateful to Coach Grove, and it's helped us out a great deal this evening, especially the punting statistics.
The Eagles stopping the run once again.
Joe Getz just told me that Roger Grove's keeping his offense under wraps in case CB West should happen to see this tape. Now, all kidding aside, Norristown has been frustrated tonight on offense. And the Patriots were frustrated on that last play. It'll be 2nd down and 12 for them from the 40-yard line of Norristown. 4:02 to play in the half. Clark Paulus got a man open. It's Jason Tate, and Tate bangs and falls his way close to a first down. I think he's probably got one at the Norristown 27-yard line. I'd like to mention again, this game brought to you by the Norristown Area School District. Also, Homeview Cable Television, Doylestown, Bucks County.
Paul is now 2 for 4 on the evening. Excuse me there.
It's quite all right. I'm just going to a few more accolades here. Mr. Sam Galbraith for directing our program this evening. Mr. Chad Hart for running camera for us. Mr. Walt Fry for helping us out in the booth. Walt is our new broadcaster on board here tonight for Norristown Cable. He'll be joining us in the second half. Walt's busy schedule. Glad he worked his schedule into ours, and he could join us here this evening at Roosevelt Field. On first down from the 27-yard line. Nothing.
The Eagles have totally shut off the run.
Eagles stuff it up the middle and give a lot of credit to that Norristown defensive line. Lynch and Chesson, Newby, Wallace, Catagnas, and Ed Kerner, who is now into the ball game. Kerner did not start this evening, but he has seen certainly some playing time.
Patriots, their first 3 offensive possessions, just ran right up the middle of the Eagles defense. Last 2 times they've had the ball, it's been a totally different story. And once again, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. I was just going to say, not a bad crowd here tonight at Norristown's Roosevelt Field. The folks didn't make it out. It's not a very cold evening, so the folks couldn't stay home for that reason. And it's nice to see them out here. CB West brought a fair amount of fans, I guess, East. When you come from that far away. CB East. I knew I would do it at least once tonight. Call them West, when in fact it's obviously East.
Don't feel bad. I got directions this morning to go over to that school, and somebody gave me the directions to West, and I ended up there before I got to East.
Not a lot of fun, huh, Al?
No, but we did get those stats.
You like driving that new car anyway.
Yeah.
3:05 to play in the half. 6-0 Patriots. They've got the ball 2nd and 9. Plenty of time. He's got a man open. Sparango.
Stopped at the 2.
I tell you, Bart Sparango's had a nice night on the other end of those passes.
And Paulus that time had plenty of time to set up in the pocket, no pressure. And once again, they split the seams of the Eagles secondary, wide open, cutting across the middle.
His line did a fantastic job. Jamie Tuksinski, Chris Naughton, Brian Hone, Jason Knight, Mike Brown. Gave him plenty of time to throw the ball.
You know, that's one thing the Eagles haven't had much success in this year, rushing the quarterback. They really haven't been able to put too much pressure on him.
First and goal from the 3. Jason Tate off the left side. He gets about 1, and he's finally thrown backwards. Looked like number 42, Rob Horton, along with number 71, Ed Kerner, making the tackle for Norristown. 2:18 to play in this half.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time.
You know I will.
Yeah, I know that. The Eagles have ever found themselves trailing after the first quarter, at least 6-0 here. And I know they have never, if they go in here to score, have been down by 2 touchdowns this season.
And you got it, Alan. Touchdown, Central Bucks East, with just less than 2 minutes remaining in the half. East flies into the end zone.
Did you see who scored that one, Jeff?
Sparango on the touchdown. 2-yard carry, so Bart Sparango puts a tally on the board. And the Patriots will try another extra point attempt here. And they call timeout. Guess they want to get the snap right this time. They'll probably go for a 2-point play.
You might as well. You have nothing to lose. You're already up 12-0.
Yeah, I would go for the 2-point play. And you know, Alan, I think it's going to be a different atmosphere for the Norristown bench this time. They're not used to going into the locker room down 12-0, maybe 14-0.
Let's consider the Patriots now. They have the long drive coming out here as you see some more lights coming out on Roosevelt Field, illuminating the far side. But CB East comes here. They're coming off a pretty dismal loss to North Penn 7-0. And they come out here and they have dominated Norristown on their home field. And as we said, this is an Eagles team 6-0-1 this season. By the way, for Bart Sparango, that's his second touchdown of the evening. In case you missed it, at the 7:15 mark of the first quarter, also a 1-yard run for Sparango. That gives him 5 on the year. And you've got to wonder also the way the Eagles have been throwing the ball so unsuccessfully this evening. Now what happens when they're in this big hole? Obviously, they have time on their side.
They set up for the 2-point play. Man in motion. They go back to pass. Broken up nicely. That time, Brett Queenan broke up the intended 2-point play. They go for Campbell, their leading receiver, and Brett Queenan made a fine play. And that could be valuable to Norristown later on in this ball game as well.
Small measure of satisfaction. It's nicer looking at a 12-0 deficit than 14-0.
Absolutely. 12-0 is certainly surmountable. But Norristown has got to come out in that second half and put a little offense into this ball game. They have had no offense tonight, folks. There hasn't been one serious threat yet in this ball game by the Norristown offense. I'm sure Coach Roger Grove, as he did in the game against Truman High School, will go into the halftime locker room with fire in his breath, because he's got to motivate his team here. These guys.
But this is
lethargic.
Nothing,
I don't know.
But it's nothing we haven't seen this season.
Absolutely.
The Eagles have been a little on the schizophrenic side at times. I mean, you look at their last 3 ball games. They go and beat Pennsbury, previously undefeated at that time. Then they go and they crush Ben Salem 33-0 and struggle against Truman, a team that had 1 win coming into Roosevelt Field.
Darrell Moses has trouble fielding the kickoff. He fumbles it at his own 20-yard line, finally picks it up and gets about 7 yards on the return. So with 1:51 to play, Norristown will have one more chance here to put some points on the board before they go to the locker room.
Boy, they're their own worst enemy so far in this first half.
Not a whole lot of highlights. A lot of lowlights.
You've noticed the crowd is a little on the quiet side?
What crowd? Oh, there they are.
They're going to the concession stands right now. Okay, the back's in the eye. Moses and Boyd lining up behind Scott. Scott giving it to Boyd on the delayed draw. Not too much running room, maybe a yard at best. Patriots able to seal him up. Officials timeout as one of the Patriots players had to leave the field because of an equipment problem. Clock running again. Exactly 1 minute to go in this first half. Eagles trailing 12-0. Danny Boyd, the lone man in the backfield. Scott has some time, unloads it, going deep, intercepted. Easy interception too for the Patriots.
Well, nice tackle that time. Brett Queenan. Queenan's used to it. Queenan says, hey, look, guys, I make a nice play, and what do?
That time they I got that. This time Scott doesn't go to his favorite man, York, who he's gone to 7 times this evening. He looks for Brett Queenan, overthrows him by a good 8 to 10 yards, right into the hands of a Patriots defender.
And I'll tell you what, with 54 seconds to play and the ball on the 45-yard line of the Patriots, they could get on the board again, folks. Paulus on the quick handoff. Nothing going there that time. Bernhardt stopped after a 1-yard gain.
Mike Lynch making a stop for the Eagles. Boy, I would not want to be a member of the Norristown Eagles coming into halftime and having to listen to Roger Grove.
I'm sure Roger won't be very laudatory, let's say. And he probably won't be real nice either.
Could warm up a chilly evening, you could say.
Second down.
We've got about 5 seconds. This is obviously the last play. Paulus unloads.
Little bumping going on down there, but the officials no flags, and that'll be the end of the half. So at halftime, going into the locker room, the Central Bucks East Patriots up on top over the Norristown Eagles, 12-0. We'll be back in just a second with our halftime wrap-up. At halftime, Norristown down 12-0, Allen. Not an illustrious first half for the Norristown Eagles, and I'm sure Roger Grove is in the locker room fuming. On the other hand, the Patriots, a lot to be happy about. They missed those extra point conversions. At this point, I don't think I'd be worried too much about it. They are outplaying Norristown, I think, basically in every facet of this ball game, offensively and defensively. Norristown hasn't generated any offense at all. I think that's the key to how poorly they're playing in this ball game.
You know, in the 8 years that we've been doing these telecasts, I can't remember more than 1 or 2 occasions where a team has come in here, manhandled the Eagles, and left at halftime with a 12-0 edge. And I mean, Norristown's had some so-so teams in the past 8 years too. They're not always 10-game winners, but tonight they have just been absolutely horrible. You come out here, first they're killing themselves with the penalties. 2 costly holding penalties, and of course 1 on an illegal block. Naturally, what happens? Where are they starting their drives? We're looking at 2 and 20. There was a 3rd and 32 situation. Their passing game, suddenly it's coming to life in a way tonight. It's not being successful, let's put it that way. Actually, they've more or less resurrected it. And I've got to ask you, why are the Eagles ignoring Danny Boyd? He carried the ball twice on their final 2 offensive series and only 7 times in the first half.
Well, I'll tell you what, he ran the first 4 plays of the ball game. That was a first down and a play that was stuffed for a no-yard gain. Not exactly great numbers early in the ball game, but give Danny Boyd a chance. He's your star. He's the man who runs for 280 yards. He's the guy who's got, 1,300 yards already this season. I don't know. I think I'd have to let Danny do something with the ball, whether you're going to let him run the ball or throw the ball to Danny Boyd. I like that as an option, too.
Danny Boyd has 2 catches on the season. As we said, Brad York, out of the 23 completions that Jim Scott, the quarterback, came into this ball game with, Brad York had 10 of them. What happens here in the first half, he went to Brad York 7 times, completed 1 of them. His other pass went to Brett Queenan at the end of the first half, and that one was intercepted. Very poor first half for Jim Scott. It seems like the Eagles want to go deep, they want to go long, yet Scott doesn't have the arm for it, and the Eagles don't exactly have enough talent at the receiver spot to accommodate that philosophy. It seems that they'd be better off going to the men out of the backfield.
It seems to me that Brad York is your only man out there at times. He's that blue shirt, as we said, in a sea of white jerseys. There have been at times 2, 3, 4, even 5 players surrounding Brad York when he's trying to catch the ball. I'm sorry, you have to have somebody out there to distract those defensive backs and to get into the offense a little bit. Throw the ball over the middle.
Right, you don't have to be a genius to figure if we're constantly throwing to Brad York, well, why double team him or double team anybody else? Put everybody on him. It's simple as that. Now, there has to be holes other places if York is drawing the double coverage. As you said, I guess in the second half we're surely going to see Boyd get a lot more time carrying the ball. Then you look at Central Bucks East coming in here. 12-0. As we said somewhere in the second quarter, I don't remember the Eagles trailing 12-0 or even 6-0 this season. Going into the halftime, this is very unfamiliar territory for them. Central Bucks East coming off a disappointing loss to North Penn last week. As you said, this is more or less a must-win situation in league play for them, or else with 2 losses in this type of conference, you can forget any chances of finishing in first place.
Well, CB East has got to be very happy with their performance tonight. I think John Kalpin is telling his troops, keep up the good work. And I especially give credit to the CB East defense, because they have been the key to giving their offense great field position. All evening, CB East has either started in Norristown territory or very deep in their own territory. You can't lose when you start out at the 50-yard line all the time. Norristown, conversely, has been inside their own 10 a couple of times, down inside their 35. I think every possession they've begun inside their own 35-yard line. You can't expect to generate 80-yard drives every time you get the ball. You have to get a few breaks during the ball game, and CB East is making their own breaks because they're holding Norristown deep.
Well, I think the Patriots set the tone in this contest. The third play from scrimmage, Paulus goes and splits the seam. He finds Sparango, who's just been a terror for Norristown here in the first half. Finds Sparango open 47 yards. At 7:15 in the first quarter, Sparango goes in from 1 yard. Then they hook up again. That leads to their second touchdown, a 3-yard plunge by Sparango with 1:58 to go in the first half. So that's where Norristown is having problems this evening. I think maybe they didn't expect the Patriots to be this tough, or could it be also that this is the first time they play them? This is not your Mythacas, your PWs, your, that type of the typical Suburban 1 conference foes that they've seen over the years.
I don't know. I think it goes back to the fact we talked about schizophrenia, the two faces of Norristown, night and day football. I don't know what it is, but they come out some nights, like you wouldn't believe. They're on fire. They're generating big offensive plays. They're playing great D. Tonight, it's just like they're sleepwalking out there, and the Patriots are the team that are pumped up. I don't know what that reason is, but nevertheless, the Patriots have played with a great deal more enthusiasm than the Eagles, and those 12 points on the scoreboard are what they have to show for it. Norristown blanked in the first half. That's hard to believe out of the offense that Norristown has been able to generate so far this season.
In the Eagles, it's kind of reminiscent of last week's game against Truman, a team with a 1-5 record. And they just, as you said, sleepwalk through it. Yet this is still the same team that dismantled a very good Pennsbury squad, crushed Ben Salem 33-0. What happened?
I don't know. It should be an interesting second half, folks. Norristown down, as we said at halftime. For Alan Raleigh, I'm Jeff Brandon. We'll be back in just a moment with the second half of football play.